Nova's breath came in ragged gasps as she pressed herself against the corroded metal wall, the harsh red dust of mining colony Delta 7 coating her threadbare clothes. Behind her, the heavy footsteps of the Drachnid patrol echoed through the abandoned industrial sector. Their guttural voices carried through the thin atmosphere, promising punishment for any slave caught outside the designated work zones. She hadn't meant to stray this far from the mining complex, but when she'd spotted the patrol approaching her unauthorized scavenging site, instinct had taken over. Now, after an hour of desperate running and hiding, she found herself in the forbidden outer reaches of the colony, where ancient machinery and derelict ships lay half-buried in centuries of accumulated dust. "The human went this way," growled a voice. "Closer now. I can smell her." Nova's heart hammered against her ribs. The Drachnid's enhanced senses made hiding nearly impossible. She needed to move, to find better cover. Her eyes darted across the landscape, searching for an escape route. That's when she saw it, a massive shape looming in the darkness, its hull still somehow gleaming despite years of exposure to the planet's harsh environment. The vessel was unlike anything Nova had ever seen. While most of the wrecks in this graveyard were simple cargo holders or mining ships, this one bore the unmistakable lines of a warship. But not just any warship, this was human technology from before the Drachnid conquest. Another patrol call echoed behind her, and Nova made her decision. She sprinted toward the ship, her feet barely touching the ground as she ran. Up close, the vessel was even more impressive. Despite its age, there was no sign of the usual decay that plagued abandoned ships. Its hull bore strange markings, not the utilitarian designations of a civilian craft, but elegant script that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. Nova found what appeared to be a maintenance access panel and pressed her hand against it, hoping to pry it open. To her shock, the panel responded to her touch, sliding aside with a soft hiss. Pale blue light spilled out from within, and she felt a slight tingle run through her body. "DNA sequence recognized," whispered a feminine voice, seemingly from nowhere. "Human presence detected. Emergency protocols initiated." Nova didn't have time to process what was happening. She could hear the Drachnid patrol approaching and quickly slipped inside. The panel sealed behind her, plunging her into darkness, broken only by faint strips of blue lighting along the floor. "Welcome aboard the Phoenix," the voice spoke again, stronger now. "I am ARIA, the ship's Advanced Responsive Intelligence Assistant. It has been 247 years since my last activation." Nova pressed herself against the inner wall, heart still racing. "Please," he whispered, "they're coming. Can you hide me?" Hostile forces detected, ARIA responded, initiating security protocols. Through the hull, Nova could hear the Drachnids approaching. Their heavy footsteps stopped near where she'd entered. "The trail ends here," one of them said. "Near this wreck." "Impossible," another replied. "These old human ships are dead. Have been for centuries. The slave must have gone another way." Nova held her breath, expecting at any moment for them to find a way in. Instead, she heard their footsteps retreating, accompanied by frustrated growls. "They cannot detect you," ARIA explained. "The Phoenix's stealth systems remain operational, if only at minimal power. You are safe here." Finally allowing herself to breathe normally, Nova looked around the corridor she'd entered. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she could see that everything was pristine, as if the ship had been sealed away in time. "What is this place?" she asked. "I've never seen technology like this." The Phoenix was the last and greatest warship built by the human fleet, ARIA replied. When the Drachnids began their conquest, she was hidden away, waiting for the right moment and the right person to awaken her. Nova ran her hand along the wall, feeling a subtle vibration beneath her fingers. "Why did you let me in?" "Your DNA signature matches the profile required for emergency activation. You are human, untainted by Drachnid genetic manipulation. More importantly, you showed the courage to seek freedom, even at great risk. These were the exact conditions my creators specified. A soft hum began to build around them, and more systems started coming online. Lights flickered to life, revealing corridors that stretched deep into the ship's interior. The Phoenix has slept for a long time, Aoya continued, but now she awakens. The question is, Nova, are you ready to help her fulfill her purpose? Are you ready to learn what it truly means to be free? Nova looked down at her hands, still bearing the calluses and scars from years of mining work. All her life, she'd been told that humans were meant to serve, that they were inferior to their drachnid masters. But standing here, in this magnificent ship that responded to her very presence, she felt something she'd never experienced before: hope. Yes, she whispered, then stronger. Yes, I'm ready. Then let us begin, Aoya replied, and the ship hummed with new energy. There is much to learn and very little time. The drachnids will return with better equipment once they realize they cannot track you. We must be ready. Nova straightened her shoulders, feeling the weight of this moment. She didn't understand everything that was happening, but she knew one thing with absolute certainty: her life would never be the same again. Deep within the Phoenix, ancient systems continued to power up, preparing for a battle that had been waiting centuries to begin. The time had come for humanity to rise again, and it would start here, with one brave girl who dared to run just a little bit further than anyone else. The command center of the Phoenix came alive around Nova as Aoya guided her through its systems. Holographic displays flickered into existence, showing star maps, ship diagnostics, and streams of data she couldn't yet comprehend. Her reflection in the dark screens showed a girl transformed, no longer a dust-covered slave, but something more. Your heart rate has elevated, Aoya noted. Are you afraid? Nova shook her head. Not afraid, just overwhelmed. I've never seen anything like this. The drachnids keep all their advanced technology locked away from us. The Phoenix represents the pinnacle of human achievement before the invasion, Aoya explained. What you see here was built by your ancestors, proof that humanity's potential far exceeds what your oppressors would have you believe. A large central display activated, showing a three-dimensional image of the ship. The Phoenix was massive, nearly 2 kilometers in length, with elegant lines that somehow managed to suggest both beauty and menace. Nova recognized design elements that seemed inspired by Earth's ancient seagoing vessels, but evolved into something far more advanced. Why did they hide it? Nova asked, running her fingers along a control panel that responded to her touch with soft blue light. Why didn't they use it to fight back? The Phoenix was never meant to stand alone, Aoya replied. She was to be the first of many, a prototype for a new class of vessels that would defend humanity. But the drachnid invasion came earlier than expected. Rather than let this technology fall into enemy hands, the ship was hidden, preserved for a future generation. A new hologram appeared, showing recordings from the ship's databanks. Nova watched in awe as scenes from humanity's past played out before her: great cities, space stations, fleets of ships traveling between the stars. All of it lost, destroyed, or hidden away when the drachnids came. The ship's primary weapons are still charging, Aoya continued. But we have more immediate concerns. Security sensors indicate the drachnids are returning with scanning equipment. They suspect something about this wreck is not what it seems. Nova felt her chest tighten. Can we fight them? Not yet, but we can begin your training. You need to understand what the Phoenix is truly capable of. A section of the floor slid open, revealing a raised platform. Step onto the interface pad. It's time you learned how to connect with the ship's neural network. Nova hesitated for only a moment before stepping onto the platform. Immediately, she felt a tingling sensation throughout her body. The air around her shimmered with points of light that coalesced into complex patterns. Your ancestors built the Phoenix with a unique neural interface, Aoya explained. It doesn't just respond to commands. It forms a true symbiotic relationship with its human operator. Through this connection, you can feel what the ship feels, see what it sees. The sensation was incredible. Nova could sense the Phoenix's systems as if they were extensions of her own body. She could feel the thrum of its power core, the whisper of atmosphere through its ventilation systems, the watchful gaze of its sensors, scanning the area around them. "There's something else," Nova whispered, touching a particular sensation that felt different from the rest. "Something deeper." "Yes," Air confirmed. "The Phoenix carries within it the sum total of human technological achievement, what we call the legacy core. It contains not just weapons and defensive systems, but the collective knowledge of human civilization. The Drachnids didn't just conquer humanity, Nova. They systematically erased our history, our achievements, our understanding of advanced science. Everything they stole from us is preserved here." Nova's eyes widened as she began to understand the true significance of what she'd found. This isn't just a warship. It's a way to restore everything we've lost. Precisely. But accessing that knowledge takes time, and time is something we may not have much of. Aria's voice took on a more urgent tone. "The Drachnid scanning team is approaching. Their equipment will detect the power signatures from our activated systems." Through her new connection to the ship, Nova could sense them too. 6 heavily armed Drachnids carrying sophisticated scanning equipment, moving methodically through the ship graveyard. They were less than 10 minutes away. "What do we do?" Nova asked, trying to keep the fear from her voice. "Now," Aria replied, "you learn the first lesson of being a Phoenix pilot, how to fight back. Access the defensive training protocols. Let's show them why humanity was never meant to be enslaved." The neural interface hummed with new energy as combat systems came online. Nova felt power flowing through the ship, through her, as years of oppression and fear transformed into something else: determination. The Phoenix had chosen her, and she would not let it down. In the darkness outside, the Drachnid patrol approached, unaware they were about to face something their kind hadn't seen in centuries, a human who was no longer afraid to fight back. The Drachnid patrol moved closer, their scanning equipment casting eerie green lights across the ship graveyard. Through the Phoenix's sensors, Nova watched them approach, her hands steady on the neural interface despite her racing heart. "Their scanners will detect us in approximately 30 seconds, Air announced. "Nova, you need to make a decision. We can maintain stealth and hope they pass by, or we can show them that humanity is done hiding." Nova thought of the mining colony, of the thousands of slaves still trapped there, of Maya, her closest friend, who'd lost an arm in the mineral processing plants, of the children born into bondage who'd never known freedom. Running and hiding hadn't helped any of them. "Show me how to fight," she said. The neural interface pulsed with new information as combat systems emerged from standby. Nova gasped as knowledge flowed directly into her mind: weapon systems, defensive capabilities, tactical procedures all becoming part of her consciousness. "The Phoenix's primary weapons are still charging," Aria reminded her. "But we have access to point defense systems and short-range pulse cannons, enough to handle this patrol without revealing our full capabilities." The first Drachnid scanner beam hit the Phoenix's hull. Alarms blared as their equipment detected the power signatures beneath the stealth field. "Energy signature detected," one of the Drachnids shouted. "This vessel is active." "Impossible," another growled. "These human relics are dead. Call for reinforcements." Nova didn't let them finish. Through her neural link, she activated the Phoenix external defense grid. Panels along the hull slid open, revealing rows of pulse cannons. The weapons came online with surgical precision, targeting the Drachnid's scanning equipment first. The patrol scattered as blue energy bolts destroyed their scanners in a series of precise explosions. Their return fire, handheld plasma rifles, splashed harmlessly against the Phoenix's shields. "Threat assessment complete," Air reported. "Their weapons are ineffective against our defenses. However, they have managed to transmit a distress signal to the colony." Through the ship's sensors, Nova could already see more Drachnid forces mobilizing. Assault shuttles were launching from the colony's military district, carrying heavier weapons and troops. How long until the main weapons are charged? Nova asked, watching the approaching forces with growing concern. Primary weapons will require another hour. However, Arrow paused, and Nova felt a surge of new possibilities through the neural interface. There is another option. The Phoenix's construction bay contains a squadron of combat drones. They were meant for ship defense, but they could be repurposed. Nova's eyes widened as she accessed the drone specifications. Each one was a marvel of human engineering, armed with advanced weapons and protected by the same shield technology as the Phoenix itself. More importantly, she saw their potential range. They could reach the mining colony. "We can free them," she whispered. "All of them." "It would be tactically advantageous," Aoia agreed. "The Drachnids will be focused on us." A drone strike could disable their security systems and free the other slaves before they can react. Nova's fingers flew across the neural interface, activating the construction bay. Deep within the Phoenix, ancient machinery hummed to life. Dozens of drones activated, their AI cores linking to the ship's network. Maya. Nova transmitted through the colony's communications system, breaking into the secured channels. "Maya, if you can hear this, get everyone ready. It's time." The response came seconds later, Maya's voice filled with disbelief. "Nova, how are you?" "No time to explain. When the security fields go down, lead everyone to the emergency shelters. I'm coming for you." The first wave of Drachnid assault shuttles was almost upon them. Nova could see their weapons charging, preparing to unleash everything they had against the Phoenix. They still thought they were dealing with a simple relic, a piece of salvaged human technology. They were wrong. Nova launched the drones, watching through multiple sensor feeds as they streaked toward the colony like shooting stars. At the same time, she brought the Phoenix's shields to full power, ready to weather the coming assault. "They're targeting our primary hull," Aoio warned as the Drachnid ships opened fire. Shields holding at 98%. Nova smiled grimly. "Let them shoot. Keep their attention on us." Through the drone feeds, she could see the chaos erupting at the mining colony. The machines breached the perimeter defenses with ease, their weapons disabling security systems and guard posts with precision strikes. Alarms blared across the colony as power grids failed and containment fields collapsed. And then she saw them, hundreds, thousands of figures emerging from the mines and processing plants. Her people, running toward freedom, led by Maya's distinctive silhouette. The Drachnid overseers, caught completely by surprise, could do nothing but watch as their slaves escaped. "Security forces are diverting from our position to handle the colony situation," Aoio reported. "Shall we press our advantage?" Nova felt the Phoenix's weapons humming, ready to strike. The neural interface showed her exactly what would happen, how their superior technology could tear through the Drachnid ships like paper. But she had a better idea. "No," she said. "Let them go. Let them report what happened here. Let them tell everyone how humanity took back its freedom." She watched the former slaves reaching the emergency shelters, hardened bunkers that could protect them from orbital bombardment. Let them know this is just the beginning. The Drachnid ships hesitated, then began to pull back, clearly unsure how to handle this unprecedented situation. Through the colony's broken communication system, Nova could hear their confused chatter, their growing fear. "The Phoenix has returned," she transmitted on all frequencies, letting both friend and foe hear her words. "Humanity rises again. This colony is now free, under our protection. Anyone who wishes to challenge this will face the consequences." As if to emphasize her point, the Phoenix's primary weapons finally reached full charge, energy coursing through the massive ship. Nova let them detect it, let them see just a fraction of what they were facing. The remaining Drachnid ships fled. "A significant victory," Aoia observed. "But they will return with greater forces." Nova nodded, watching as Maya organized a freed slaves in the shelters. "I know. But by then, we'll be ready. The Phoenix isn't just a ship, it's a symbol. And now everyone knows that humanity is done being enslaved." Deep in space, emergency transmissions were already spreading between Drachnid worlds. Humanity had found its teeth again, and nothing would ever be the same. 3 days after the liberation of mining colony Delta 7, Nova stood at the Phoenix's command center, watching streams of data from across Drachnid space. The ship's advanced communication arrays had tapped into their networks, revealing the chaos that actions had sparked. Another uprising reported on Helios Prime, Aoraya announced, highlighting a distant mining world. The human workers have seized control of the primary processing facilities. The Drachnids are losing their grip on the outer colonies. The news brought both pride and worry to Nova. Pride that others were fighting back, but worry about the cost. The Drachnids wouldn't take this rebellion lightly. "How are our new guests settling in?" she asked, thinking of the thousands of freed slaves now housed within the Phoenix's massive habitation decks. The ship had been designed to support a full crew complement, but Nova doubted its creators had ever imagined it serving as a refugee shelter. "Maya has organized them into work teams," Aoraya replied. "Many are accessing the educational databases, learning about their true heritage. Others are training on the ship's systems. They are eager to contribute." Nova smiled, remembering how Maya had taken charge of the situation, her organizational skills matching her fierce determination. Her friend had gone from processing plant worker to unofficial leader of the freed slaves in a matter of days. A priority alert flashed across the neural interface. "Multiple hyperspace signatures detected," Aoraya warned. "The Drachnid response fleet has arrived." The tactical display showed dozens of warships emerging from hyperspace, far more than had ever been deployed to this sector before. At their center was a massive dreadnought, its hull bristling with weapons. The inexorable, Aoraya identified. Flagship of Commander Vex, the Drachnid Empire's most decorated military leader. Nova had heard stories of Vex, the ruthless commander who had crushed the last attempted human rebellion 50 years ago. His arrival meant the Drachnids were done treating this as a minor insurgency. A transmission cut through their secured channels, broadcasting on all frequencies. Commander Vex's face appeared on the main screen, scales gleaming, eyes cold and reptilian. "Attention human rebels," he growled. "This is your only warning. Return to your designated labor zones immediately. Surrender the stolen vessel, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make examples of you across every world in the Empire." Nova took a deep breath, then opened a channel to respond. "This ship wasn't stolen, Commander. It was waiting for us. Humanity is reclaiming what was always ours." "Ah, the young one who started this trouble." Vex's expression might have been a smile or a snarl. "Do you really think one ancient warship can stand against the might of the Empire?" Through the neural interface, Nova could sense the Phoenix's full combat capabilities becoming available. The ship had used the past 3 days to complete its reactivation sequence. Its weapons were now fully charged, its systems optimized. But more importantly, she had spent those days learning, absorbing tactical knowledge from the legacy core, understanding what the Phoenix could really do. She was no longer the frightened slave who had stumbled upon the ship by accident. "You're right, Commander. One ship alone can't defeat an empire." Nova's voice was steady as she continued, "But we're not alone anymore." On cue, hyperspace ruptures appeared around the Phoenix. Ships emerged, cargo vessels, mining craft, and transport ships, all stolen from Drachnid control by rising rebel groups across a sector. Each was crude compared to the Phoenix, but they were crude by humans who had chosen to fight. Incoming transmission from the rebel ships, Aoraya reported. "They're asking for commands." Nova felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. These people had come because they believed in what the Phoenix represented: hope, freedom, the return of humanity's lost strength. She couldn't let them down. "Commander Vex," she transmitted, "you told us stories about how weak humans are, how we needed your guidance and control. But we remember who we really are now. The Phoenix carries our true history, everything you tried to make us forget." The tactical display showed more rebel ships arriving, not just from this system, but from across the sector. The Legacy Core had contained coordinates for hidden resistance cells, dormant networks that had waited generations for this moment. "You have one chance," Nova continued. "Withdraw your forces, recognize the independence of the human colonies, end this peacefully." Vex's response was predictable. Open fire, destroy them all. The space between the fleets erupted with weapons fire. The Drachnid ships launched their attack with practiced precision, their superior numbers forming an overwhelming wall of destruction. But the Phoenix was ready. "RIA, execute Battle Plan Sigma," Nova commanded. "Show them what humanity remembers." The Phoenix advanced shield technology extended outward, creating a protective bubble around the rebel fleet. Drachnid weapons fire splashed harmlessly against it. At the same time, the ship's targeting systems linked with the rebel vessels, guiding their attacks with deadly accuracy. Multiple Drachnid ships disabled, ARIO reported. Their shield configurations are ineffective against coordinated fire patterns. Nova watched as the battle unfolded, directing the Phoenix's immense power to where it was needed most. The ship moved with impossible grace for its size, its advanced engines letting it outmaneuver the Drachnid vessels, while its weapons struck with devastating effect. But victory wasn't her goal, not yet. This battle needed to be more than just a military engagement. It needed to be a message. "Broadcast on all frequencies," she ordered, "to every human colony and mining world. Show them what's happening here." The Phoenix's communication array activated, transmitting real-time footage of the battle across Drachnid space. Everywhere, slaves and workers would see their people fighting back, would see the mighty Empire's ships falling before the combined might of human resistance. Commander Vex's flagship launched a desperate barrage, trying to break through their defenses. The Phoenix's shields held firm. "Your empire is built on lies," Nova transmitted. "You didn't conquer us because you were stronger. You won through treachery, by destroying our history and making us forget who we are. But we remember now, and we're taking back everything you stole." The battle raged on, but its outcome was already becoming a symbol of something larger. Across the sector, more colonies were rising up. More ships were breaking free. A revolution that had started with one girl finding an ancient warship was becoming an unstoppable force. Humanity was awakening, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Phoenix's command center was eerily quiet as Nova studied the tactical display. 2 weeks had passed since the battle against Commander Vex's fleet, and the situation had evolved beyond anything she could have imagined. Dozens of human colonies had declared independence. Hundreds of ships had joined their cause. And now, the Drachnid Empire had played its final card. "They're mobilizing everything," Maya said, standing beside her. The former slave had become Nova's most trusted advisor, her practical wisdom balancing Nova's increasing connection to the Phoenix's combat systems. Every ship, every soldier. They're coming to end this, once and for all. Through the neural interface, Nova could see the massive fleet assembling. Thousands of Drachnid warships gathered from across that empire. At the heart was something new, a massive vessel that dwarfed even Commander Vex's flagship. The Worldbreaker, ARIA identified. A superweapon constructed using corrupted human technology. The Drachnids have been building it in secret for decades. Nova felt a chill as she accessed the Phoenix analysis of the vessel. "They reversed engineered our tech, but I thought they destroyed all of it." Not destroyed, studied, corrupted. The Worldbreaker represents everything the Drachnids stole from humanity, twisted to serve their purposes. The massive ship lived up to its name. Its main weapon was designed to tear planets apart, to reduce entire worlds to asteroid fields. The message was clear: submit, or watch your worlds burn. "We're receiving transmissions from the other colonies," Maya reported. "They're scared. Some are talking about surrendering." Nova couldn't blame them. The rebel fleet, even with the Phoenix leading it, seemed hopelessly outmatched against such overwhelming force. But surrender would mean worse than death. It would mean the final extinction of human freedom. "Oh, she said, "it's time. Show me what's in the legacy core. Show me everything." "Warning," the AI responded. "Full neural integration with the legacy core has never been attempted. The amount of data could overwhelm your consciousness." "We don't have a choice." Nova stepped onto the neural interface platform. "Our ancestors built the Phoenix to save humanity. There has to be something in there that can help us win." The interface hummed to life, but this time it felt different. The usual stream of tactical data was replaced by something far more intense. Nova gasped as knowledge flooded her mind. Centuries of human achievement, scientific breakthroughs, military strategies, and technological innovations. Through the deluge of information, patterns began to emerge. She saw how the Phoenix had been designed, understood the principles behind its advanced technology. More importantly, she saw its true purpose. "It's not just a warship," she whispered. "It's a key." Maya looked confused. "A key to what?" Before Nova could answer, proximity alarms blared. The Drachnid fleet had arrived, dropping out of hyperspace in perfect attack formation. The Worldbreaker hung at its center like an artificial sun, its weapon systems charging. "This is Commander Vex of the Drachnid Empire." The transmission cut through all channels. "Your rebellion ends today. Surrender now, or watch as we destroy everything you have fought for." Nova stood straighter, the legacy core's knowledge burning in her mind. "LRA, send the activation signal. Wake them up." Signal sent, the AI confirmed. Dormant systems responding. Across the sector, something extraordinary began to happen. Hidden installations, buried beneath the surface of seemingly abandoned worlds, came to life. Automated factories that had slept for centuries activated, their production lines spinning up. And in the vast darkness between the stars, more ships began to appear. They were Phoenix-class vessels, sister ships to Nova's own, hidden away and waiting for this moment. Each one had been preserved, protected by the same technology that had kept the first Phoenix safe. Now they awoke, their AI systems linking with AOIA, forming a network of unprecedented power. "Impossible." Vex's voice carried genuine fear for the first time. "We destroyed them all." "You tried," Nova replied, feeling the combined strength of the Phoenix network flowing through her. "But humanity planned for this. We hid our greatest achievements, preserved our legacy, and waited for the right moment to take it all back." The Worldbreaker fired its main weapon, a beam of pure destruction that could shatter planets. But the Phoenix fleet was ready. Their combined shields formed patterns that Nova now understood, geometric configurations designed to channel and redirect energy. The devastating beam split apart, its power dissipated harmlessly into space. "All ships, begin the counterattack," Nova commanded. The rebel fleet moved with newfound confidence, protected by the Phoenix network's advanced shields. Smaller craft darted between the massive warships, their weapons guided by targeting data from the legacy core. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. The Drachnid fleet's numerical advantage meant nothing against the coordinated power of human technology used as it was meant to be used. Ships that had been built to work together, commanded by AIs that could think and react as one. But the Worldbreaker remained a threat. Its weapons might not be able to destroy planets through the Phoenix shields, but it could still tear through conventional defenses. Nova watched as it targeted a civilian colony, its main gun charging for another shot. "We need to end this," she said. "RIA, initiate final integration protocol." "Warning," the A's voice held genuine concern. "The strain on your neural system will be extreme." "Do it." The neural interface flared with new energy as Nova's consciousness expanded across the entire Phoenix network. She could feel every ship, every weapon, every shield generator. The combined knowledge of the legacy core flowed through her mind, showing her exactly what needed to be done. The Phoenix ships moved in perfect synchronization, forming a pattern that seemed to bend space itself. Energy coursed between them, building to levels that defied conventional physics. "What are you doing?" Vex demanded, his composure finally breaking. "Showing you what humanity is really capable of," Nova replied. "You stole our past. You corrupted our technology. Now see it used as it was meant to be used." The Phoenix network unleashed its combined power, not as a weapon of destruction, but as something far more precise. The energy wave that swept through the Drachnid fleet didn't destroy their ships, it transformed them. Computer systems reset, weapons powered down, engines stalled. The Worldbreaker, for all its terrible power, fell silent. "A shutdown pulse," Nova explained to the stunned Drachnid commander. "Built into every piece of technology you stole from us. One last safeguard, waiting for the right moment." The Drachnid fleet hung powerless in space, their mighty empire brought low by the very technology they had thought they controlled. The revolution that had started with one girl finding an ancient ship had become something far greater, the restoration of humanity's legacy. But as Nova felt the strain of maintaining the neural connection across the entire network, she knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a new chapter in human history. And she had to stay conscious long enough to see it through. The medical bay of the Phoenix hummed softly as Nova opened her eyes. Her head throbbed from the neural strain of controlling the entire network, but her mind was clearer than ever. 3 days had passed since the battle, and the galaxy had changed forever. "You should be resting," Maya said from beside her bed, but there was pride in her voice. "The doctors say connecting to that many ships at once nearly killed you." "Nearly isn't the same as actually," Nova replied, sitting up carefully. "What's the situation? Why did you see for yourself?" Nova stepped onto the observation deck, Maya supporting her. The view took her breath away. Hundreds of ships surrounded the Phoenix, not just the rebel fleet now, but vessels from every human colony. And among them, the newly awakened Phoenix-class ships gleamed like stars. "The Drachnid Empire is in chaos," Aoria reported, her voice coming through a nearby console. "Without their stolen technology, their control systems have collapsed. Most colonies have already declared independence." But it wasn't the military victory that drew Nova's attention. Below them, the surface of Volta 7 was transforming. Ancient facilities, hidden beneath the rust and dust of centuries, had awakened alongside the Phoenix fleet. They were restoration centers, designed to rebuild what had been lost. The legacy core contained more than weapons, Nova explained, watching construction drones reshape the landscape. It had everything: agricultural systems, medical technology, educational programs. Everything humanity needs to rebuild. "Commander Vex is requesting an audience," Aoria announced. "He represents what remains of the Drachnid leadership." Nova nodded, "Put him through." The commander appeared on a nearby screen. His usual arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like respect. "The Empire cannot continue this conflict," he stated simply. "Without our technological advantage, we lack the means to control our territories. We request terms." "I'm transmitting them now," Nova replied. The terms had been carefully crafted, drawing on the wisdom stored in the legacy core. Every human world gains its independence immediately. All slaves are freed, but this isn't about revenge. She sent additional data, plans for a new kind of relationship between humans and Drachnids. Not one of masters and slaves, but of equals. The Phoenix network could be adapted to benefit both species, to help build rather than destroy. "You offer cooperation?" Vex seemed genuinely surprised. "After everything we did." "Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology," Nova explained. "It was our ability to move forward, to build something better from the ashes of conflict. We're offering you the chance to be part of that." Through the neural link, which now felt like a natural extension of herself, Nova could sense the changes already spreading across human space. The Phoenix network wasn't just reactivating lost technology, it was restoring lost knowledge, lost culture, lost hope. There will be challenges, Maya noted, watching former slaves and former masters trying to navigate their new reality. Not everyone will accept change easily. That's why we're here. Nova gestured to the Phoenix fleet. These ships weren't just built for war, they were built to light the way forward. As if in response, the Phoenix's systems hummed with new energy. The Legacy Core was unlocking more of its secrets, showing plans for schools, hospitals, research centers, everything needed to rebuild civilization. We're receiving transmissions from every human world, AOIA reported. They're requesting guidance, assistance, and leadership. Nova understood the implication. The Phoenix network needed direction, a purpose beyond just winning the war. The freed colonies needed to be united, not through forceful fear, but through hope and common purpose. Tell them. Nova paused, choosing her words carefully. Tell them that humanity's legacy isn't just about reclaiming what we lost. It's about building something new, something better. She turned to Maya. We'll need help. Leaders, teachers, builders, people who remember what it means to work together. Maya smiled. I think I know where to start. The observation deck filled with light as the sun rose over Volta 7. Below, the first new buildings were taking shape, not mining facilities or slave quarters, but places of learning and healing. The Phoenix cast its shadow over them, no longer a weapon of war, but a guardian of peace. AOIA, Nova said, set a course for the outer colonies. We have work to do. The great ship's engines hummed to life, its power now turned to creation rather than destruction. Around it, the other Phoenix-class vessels moved in harmony, their combined purpose shifting from war to reconstruction. In the centuries of slavery, humans had been forced to forget who they were, but they had never lost their essential nature, the drive to build, to learn, to grow beyond their limitations. The Phoenix had awakened more than just ancient technology, it had awakened the human spirit itself. As they moved out into space, Nova felt the weight of the neural interface crown settling comfortably on her head. Through it, she could sense the hope spreading across human space, not just for freedom from bondage, but for something greater. A chance to prove that humanity's greatest achievements lay not in its past, but in its future. The Phoenix flew on, carrying with it the seeds of a new civilization. Behind it, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if welcoming humanity back to its rightful place among them. This wasn't the end of the story. In many ways, it was just the beginning.